What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about the secrecy behind Scream 7 and talk about why. Why is it like this? We've talked about it many times, pretty much in all of these videos. It's like they're going right down to the wire no matter how you look at it, right? August, is that when we get everything and they start filming in September? That would be very, very close. Closer, I would assume, than most of the movies of this size. And also in terms of history, what we've seen from the last two would also be pretty different, right? So it's like, what are these reasons? We've talked about it before. And I saw this on Twitter from Critical Overlord, great guy, friend of the channel. And it really, I think, put into focus, in my opinion, I have an answer, or at least I have a reason why I believe they're being so secret, but I just want to, give him a shout out. Look at his Twitter here. Why don't you know the Scream 7 cast? And the choices are Kevin Williamson's wishes, safety concerns, cast isn't finalized, or all of the above. I think I specifically chose safety concerns, and all of the above won. And, I think Kevin Williamson probably does have something to do with it. I think you think to the higher-ups, the executives, or those in control of Scream 7. Obviously, they would have some sort of say with it, right? So, you imagine he is a part of it where he's saying, okay, hold off on this or hold off on that. The cast isn't finalized one is honestly one I haven't thought about too much, just because we're so close that I imagine, like, the main ones, I mean, it better be, right? I mean, if they're not, then obviously you have a problem, but the main cast has got to be pretty darn close or locked in. There's been the reports of, Kerry Russell and Patrick Dempsey being taken off the production weekly or whatever it is, right? So right now it's just Nev and Courtney, and okay, do you have anybody else coming? Obviously you are, but I would understand that as well, right? If you're going to do it, especially if you're going to do it so close to Scream 7 coming out, you might as well have everybody kind of lined up. But I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not super into covering movies. Like, I don't do it all that often, but I do see a lot of things. And generally, at least in my opinion, it feels like, you have most of the cast. And then sometimes casting is announced for, like, smaller, minor roles when the filming is actually going on, right? Like, they have, and I think even Superman did that, right? Like, you have the main cast, but then they were filming, they were adding, and I mean, kind of last second additions. I don't feel like that's all that crazy. So that one, it's like, I don't know. I feel like, they probably, or at least, again, they should have the ones that are the most important, the ones that are going to have the most screen time. They should already be, locked up behind the scenes. And, maybe it's the smaller ones. And hey, maybe, I mean, I guess we've seen it before. They do like to kind of do batches, right? Like they, I think that before they've done like the core four, but then they do everybody else, like a Devin Nakota and all these people. Like, they were all announced, Liana Liberato, all announced in kind of one big group. So I guess to be fair to that, maybe they do literally want everybody just so they can, throw it all out at us. And the casts are not that big. I mean, I know we talk about numbers leading into the Scream movies, and it's like, okay, you got 13 people. These 5 can't be the killers. So now you're playing around with this group. Is there 1? Is there 2? I know we talk about the cast maybe being kind of too big, but I don't think the cast is actually all that large for the Scream franchise. Safety concerns. Now, for me, I voted safety concerns, even though it's partially safety concerns, partially, I would say, online drama. I really, and this is something, we've talked about before. I'm so interested, no matter where your stance is on this movie, I really want to see what happened. Because, look, I mean, I live on the internet probably more than most people. I think some people here probably live on it just as much as me. But when it comes to the reception on Twitter, the talk on social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff, and then if it actually makes a mark on the movie itself, I don't know. We've seen examples where it doesn't actually happen. Again, I always kind of default to my gaming background, but oftentimes it's just loud noises. It's just a loud vocal minority of people, not saying right or wrong, just saying loud, definitely loud, and maybe not the bigger group, considering what happens in like the end game. I go back to like a Hogwarts Legacy, the cancel campaign, the boycotting, the going after other people from the negative side, from the people who didn't like the game. They were very, very loud. They were very organized in a way, but it did not result in the game doing bad literally at all. In fact, the game broke records, and I predicted that, by the way, and all that jazz. That's a game. This is a movie. And so it is different. Like, I want to just throw that out there. But that is something that from day one, really ever since they fired Melissa, right? that from day one has been something I've been really, really interested in, where, and I've said it before, like it, don't like it, see it, don't see it. I think you've seen a lot of people online take it way too far. And I think it's honestly, I mean, we've said it before, I think it has come from both sides. I think the demonizing of certain people or certain fandoms is a joke. Honestly, it's a joke. And really, that shouldn't be happening. Like, if you like Scream 5 and 6, which I do, whatever it might be, I just see a lot of, I would call it infighting, but I feel like there's now two completely different sides. And again, is this me venting or is this me talking about a topic? Well, you also have to think about it when it comes to everything else that's going to be announced. I think about it with the money and, the box office. Is it going to be a success, quote unquote, or not? But you also have to think about leading up. What will this do? Is this going to be represented in likes to dislikes for the trailer? I think it will. And, that's something we'll have to look at, comparing what 5 and 6 did to also 7. Views, likes to dislikes. Is it real or is it just people, whatever it might be. These are things that are interesting to me, but it's also interesting every stage, what it might impact. So, I've always kind of talked about the ending, the end goal. But leading into it, it is going to be, I've said this, before on Twitter, it is going to kind of be bloody. It's going to be kind of crazy because you have people that are very, very loud, very attack heavy. And I don't feel like people are actually able to talk too much without kind of being jumped on. But, I think from the casting perspective, that's something that, if you announce it too early, at the same time, I will say, because I was going to say, if you announce it too early, you get attacked on social media. In my opinion, I would say, well, what would that actually do? Now, granted, I mean, I stand by that because I'm kind of in the whole, again, everybody's an individual. They can do what they want. They can believe what they want, say what they want, whatever. But I will say from the Hollywood point of view, these people are different. I mean, we've talked about the Hollywood group kind of before. These people are kind of in a group of their own. They are pressured very easily. They're kind of a hive mind of, hey, let's just say this because other people say it. So on that side of things, if they're attacked leading in, I guess what I'm trying to get at, can you lose cast by them being announced and then getting attacked on social media? You shouldn't, but I think you actually could. So maybe that is the reason, above all else, the safety concern thing. I think Critical Overlord was talking about people following Melissa, and there was some drama with the Scream 6 filming. I think just in general, I'm pretty sure that was pretty well reported. I mean, I think that's always a problem, and I guess you can combine that, right? Safety concerns mixed with all this stuff. I generally think a lot of these people just, say these threats, but it wouldn't actually follow. You have people on social media that are talking about going after people if they're in a line at a convention for the wrong person. I mean, that is a legitimate thing. Now, do I believe that they would actually do it? Absolutely not. These people say things and then they don't actually follow through, at least in these kind of situations, because you probably shouldn't. You shouldn't threaten. And then if you do threaten, you shouldn't follow it through. I think that's pretty reasonable, but some of these people have literally lost their minds. So with that being said, I guess you can combine safety concerns because you could say, a one and done thing with Scream 6, not too big of a deal. And in the grand scheme of things, was it? Now you go into Scream 7, okay, but now you also have this online thing. And if some of these people take it a step too far, could they go to these I don't think go to these people's homes, but filming is pretty open, and people got pretty close to the filming sets of 6. Now imagine they do it for 7, but you have some of these people that are doing these threatening things online. What if one of them does something and actually does something physically and goes there? That would be something different. Now, no matter what happens, that can always still happen. At the end of the day, somebody could still do it. Doesn't matter if you announce the cast a month before, a week before, 2 months before. It could still happen at the end of the day. So, again, things to kind of think about, I guess. I guess depending on who you are. But no, I mean, for me, that would kind of be the reason. And again, it's things we've kind of discussed before. I think it's put them in a bad spot because I don't think it is great that everything's going to come out just all at one time. And I mean, that I don't really care about, I guess, but all at one time, right before it happens, because I really think, as we keep saying, they're going to announce all this stuff and they'll film a month later. It feels like kind of like a rushing type thing, or you're trying to, I mean, it comes across probably how it literally is, you're trying to avoid certain things. And, there is still the backlash of firing Melissa and Jenna, which is a real thing, which I still don't support them doing that either. You know what I mean? So there's all sorts of controversy and drama around it. Again, The question is, what does it actually do? Will it result in anybody doing something stupid when they're filming? Does it result in trailer kind of backlash, or, the lead up in the press? And, then when the movie comes out, the box office, like, there's a couple different things that are going to happen, right? And we'll see how this online stuff actually impacts any of them. If it does, maybe it does. I think it will, but it won't be that big. But, it kind of like a case-by-case basis. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.